The town of Hollow Creek, forgotten, isolated, shrouded in mist and secrets. Legends whispered on the wind, tales of a creature that haunted the pre-dawn hours. The Lurker. They said it lived in the woods beyond the creek, a place where sunlight struggled to penetrate, where shadows danced to a symphony of fear. The Lurker, they called it, a name whispered in fear, a legend etched in the heart of the town. No one knew what it looked like. Those who saw it never lived to tell the tale. They vanished in the hour before dawn, leaving behind only silence and the chilling echo of fear. Hollow Creek was a town that lived in the shadow of fear, a fear as old as the town itself. The town lived under a perpetual cloud of dread. Doors were bolted before sunset. Streets remained deserted. The laughter of children, once a familiar melody, was now a distant memory. Fear was a disease, spreading through the cobbled streets, infecting every heart. It lurked in the shadows, whispered in the wind, and gnawed at the edges of their sanity. Every morning brought news of another disappearance, another soul swallowed by the darkness. The townsfolk whispered in hushed tones, their faces etched with despair. Hope was a flickering candle in the wind, threatening to be extinguished by the icy breath of fear. They called her crazy, foolish, reckless. But Hana paid no heed to their whispers. She carried a different kind of fire in her heart, fueled by grief and a burning desire for truth. Her grandmother, a woman who spun tales of courage and kindness, had vanished one cold morning, taken by the darkness, swallowed by the legend. Hana refused to believe it. She refused to let fear paralyze her. She would find her grandmother, even if it meant confronting the monster that haunted their town. Her heart ached with loss, but her resolve burned brighter. She would be the one to stand up to the darkness. Armed with a lantern and her grandmother's stories, Hana stepped into the pre-dawn darkness. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and the promise of danger. A shiver ran down her spine, but she pushed forward. The woods loomed ahead, a tapestry of twisted branches and eerie silence. Her heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat against the symphony of fear. But she wouldn't turn back, not this time. She repeated her grandmother's words like a mantra, a shield against the encroaching darkness. Courage is not the absence of fear, but action in the face of it. With each step, the town of Hollow Creek seemed to fade behind her, replaced by the primal fear of the unknown. The forest was a labyrinth of shadows and whispering leaves. The air grew colder, the silence deeper. Each rustle of leaves sent a jolt of fear through her. Was it just the wind or something else? She pressed on, her lantern a beacon in the sea of darkness. The path ahead was treacherous, littered with gnarled roots and shrouded in mist. But she wouldn't be deterred, not while a sliver of hope remained. The pre-dawn light was just a sliver on the horizon, a promise of the day to come. But it was also a reminder of the legend. The hour of the Lurker was almost upon her. Fear threatened to consume her, but she clung to her resolve. She would find her grandmother, or die trying. The forest seemed to hold its breath as dawn approached. The air crackled with anticipation. Even the wind seemed to whisper a warning. He was coming. Hana's heart pounded in her chest. She could feel its presence, a darkness that seemed to seep into her very bones. Her hand trembled as she adjusted the lantern, her knuckles white as she gripped its handle. A low growl echoed through the trees, sending chills down her spine. It was a sound that spoke of ancient hunger, of primal fear. It was the sound of a predator. She knew she should run, turn back. But something kept her rooted to the spot. Perhaps it was courage, perhaps it was reckless abandon, or perhaps it was the faintest glimmer of hope. And then she saw it, a hulking silhouette against the emerging dawn. Its eyes, two burning embers in the darkness, bored into her very soul. Fear, raw and primal, threatened to overwhelm her. Her breath hitched in her throat, her legs turned to lead. This was it, the monster she had feared her entire life. But as she gazed into its eyes, she saw something else. A flicker of pain, a hint of sadness, and something else, fear. Was it possible? Was this creature, this embodiment of terror, also afraid? In that moment, something shifted within Hana. The paralyzing fear gave way to a strange sense of calm. She would face her fear, not with bravado, but with understanding.